They went to the queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of The Peasant's Perspective. We made it. We've made it. We've got the internet back.
Yes.
Did you ever figure out what the big boom booms were yesterday?
Yes, there were some transformers that exploded.
You know, I told my wife that, and I thought, for you to hear it like that, they would have had to been like right here in front of you.
They were not.
Where were they?
They were like a mile and a half away.
And you heard them?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Kapow.
Wow. Was it just one?
No, there was multiple.
What happened? Did they surge, or did they have a power surge? Did they start using the lasers over there at Bay? What?
No, just some down trees.
It just popped a whole series of them, huh?
Well, yeah, there was a whole bunch of them that popped, and then when they tried turning back on, it was too soon.
Oh, so they popped again?
Yes.
You know, one time I've watched a couple Transformers pop. I've never thought that you could hear them that far away. I mean, they're loud, but not quite like that.
Well, there are different sizes.
Okay.
Some of them are bigger than others.
So years and years ago, I was building I was developing a lot behind my house, and it was a wooded lot, and I was putting in a manufactured home. And so as I was doing the clearing, we just had a huge windstorm, knocked out power for like 2 days, right? And so the power company was going all over the place, fixing transformers and stuff. Well, after the storm passed, I started sawing down trees, and I just barely put in this new transformer. It was an in-ground one of the green boxes, and boom, right on that transformer. I mean, it had only been in for like a week. It wasn't even, popped the transformer, and it was like, oh, geez. So we called the power company. They came out, and that's a pretty expensive fix because you got trouble charges, and it's going to be like about 18 grand.
Yeah.
And I looked at the guy, and I just said, hey, man, I don't have the money to pay for this. And he goes, well, lucky for you, we've been on storm duty, so I'll chalk this up to the storm. It was super obvious. So we did, and they wrote it off. I didn't have to pay for it.
You got super lucky.
I was very lucky, but I was very obvious I had sawed the tree down. I mean, it was like, it twisted on me is what it was. It was a huge tree. It was like probably 120 feet. And, you know, you wouldn't think this box was in the way. It was the top of the tree that hit it. And anyways, yeah, fun stuff. Okay, I know why you guys came here this morning. You came here for the simultaneous sip. All you need is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankard, a chalice, a stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure of the dopamine hit of the day, the simultaneous sip, and it starts now. Ron and I could hear it.
No audio.
No audio, not AI. John's going to be happy. Okay, here we go. Just for fun.
Kind of funny how coffee never tastes as good as it smells.
As you grow older, you'll discover that life is very much like coffee. The aroma is always better than the actuality.
Good stuff. Okay, good morning, Pony Boy. Ron's back. Yes, he is. And Pony Boy made it again. He's first place. John Attack this morning. Carlito and Tiffany on YouTube. Good morning from Texas. You, of course, Ron. Good morning, peasants. Shantini, good morning. More peasants. Carlitos, good morning from Texas. Karen, or Carlinpaw. Happy Friday. Doug Wyatt, good morning, peasants. So glad to have you guys here today. Doug, it's like the good old days, and we'd get up and we'd start walking and talking politics in prison.
Yeah.
Okay, so fun to have you guys here. Glad you guys all made it. It is more Iran today, which makes sense. I mean, it is like the focal point of geopolitics right now.
Did you say Ayn Rand or Iran?
Oh, I wish it was Iran. I'd much rather be talking about Ayn Rand than talking about Iran. Okay, so this is Newt Gingrich. He was on with Fox News. It was actually this morning, I think. If it wasn't this morning, it was last night. And he had a great take on this. And this is something that when I was in college, there was a book, and I don't remember the name of it. It was like Clash of Empires or something like that. But what it was talking about was the future conflicts are going to be theological conflicts. That the sectarian world has figured out how to do world trade and all that kind of stuff. But when you took a map and you looked at where all the bloodshed and all the skirmishes and all the war were, it was where civilizations were butting up against each other. It was where Christianity and Islam were butting up, or Judaism and Islam, Hinduism and Islam, Chinese communism. It was like all these spots was where the conflict was going to be. And that was kind of the future. And I remember it was such a big deal because Barack Obama, when he was first president, this was after I graduated from college, but Barack Obama got seen holding that book and reading that book, getting onto Marine One or something like that. So it's always, signals, right? This is what the president's thinking about. The other thing Barack Obama talked about was the problem he had to deal with was the three body problem. Have you ever heard of that? There's a movie on Netflix, or it's a series called The Three Body Problem based on a book. It's a Chinese book, but it talks about aliens basically manipulating us. Anyways, pretty interesting. Yeah, okay, so this is Newt Gingrich. Let's listen to him, and he's talking about exactly what we're up against in the West. And I agree with this completely. And those of you who have been listening to this for a long time, you understand this theme.
Well, first of all, Sean, as you know, I was in Paris just last weekend talking with people who are deeply involved in trying to deal with the Iranian government and other sources of terrorism. And let me also say, Daniel Silva has a remarkable new novel called Black Widow, and the entire opening section is on the systematic Islamic attack on Jews in France, which is the worst it's been since the Nazis. So let me start with where I'm coming from, and let me be as blunt and as direct as I can be. Western civilization is in a war. We should, frankly, test every person from here who is of a Muslim background, and if they believe in Sharia, they should be deported. Sharia is incompatible with Western civilization. Modern Muslims who have given up Sharia, glad to have them as citizens, perfectly happy to have them next door. But we need to be fairly relentless about defining who our enemies are. Anybody who goes on a website favoring ISIS or Al-Qaeda or other terrorist groups, that should be a felony, and they should go to jail.
Whoa.
Any organization which hosts such a website should be engaged in a felony. It should be closed down immediately. Our forces should be used to systematically destroy every internet-based source. And frankly, if we can't destroy them through the internet, we should destroy them with kinetic power, using various weapons, starting with predators, and just frankly, just killing them. I am sick and tired of being told that the wealthiest, most powerful civilization in history, all of Western civilization, is helpless in the face of a group of medieval barbarians who, for example, recently burned 20 young women to death, burned them to death because they wouldn't have sex with them. A group which beheaded recently in the Philippines 2 Canadian businessmen. And we're told to be reasonable, to be passive, to not judge. Well, I just want to tell you tonight, everybody who watches this video, this is the fault of Western elites who lack the guts to do what is right, to do what is necessary, and to tell us the truth. And that starts with Barack Obama.
I agree. Now, I got the timing wrong. This wasn't last night or this morning. This was years ago when there was the terror attack in Nice.
Okay, because I was going to say, clearly I've missed something because I didn't know what was going on in France.
Yeah, no, that was when the guy came into the they came into the stadium and started shooting people up.
Okay.
I agree with that. I mean, it was as true when he said it then as it is when he said it now. And anybody who's had their head out of their butt knows that this is the case.
So I was way with him right up until he said you're going to get a felony for browsing a website. I was like, hold on.
He's talking about ISIS websites, Al-Qaeda websites, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that you should. I mean, listen, we're all for free speech, but you can't yell fire in a theater.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, there's no limit on your speech. You can say whatever you want, but you don't get to choose your consequences.
But what if I want to go check out some ISIS websites?
What if? Well, nowadays you probably could.
Careful surfing, people.
Yeah, this is a flashback clip to Joe Biden in 2015 to Joe Biden in 2020. Notice the difference here. This is the leader of the Western world, right? In 2015, he was vice president. In 2020, he was president. Oh, how his tune changed.
These perverse ideologues warp theocrats. They may be able to inspire a single lone wolf to commit a savage act, but they can never threaten who we are. When this perverted jihadist struck, everyone responded. I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. Hadith from the Prophet Muhammad instructs, whomever among you sees a wrong, let him change it with his hand. If he is not able, then with his tongue. If he is not able, then with his heart. These perverse.
Which is the inverse of what Jesus said. Change your heart first, then your mouth, then your hand. And they're like, no, hit him first. You can't fix it by force. Okay, so that is the attitude of our country, right? We went from 9/11 to these jihadists, blah, 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 to, hey, let's let them in, to, hey, we should teach this in school, to, hey, we're celebrating Ramadan in New York City Hall.
Oh, boy.
Sounds great, right? It only took 25 years, and they basically took over New York. They control the city of New York. They control the city of London. Pretty scary. You want to know how bad the clash of civilizations is? It's not just in the West. It's not just in Europe. It's not just here in the United States. It's everywhere, even Africa.
If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media sources suck. You are in a bubble. Not, and again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Thank you. Thank you. No one will talk about it, so thank you.
Absolutely.
It's Africa. That's why no one's talking about it, and they should be. You can't read about it in mainstream media. It's sad, so thank you for bringing it up.
Well, because the Jews aren't involved. That's why. It's the Christians and the Muslims. Who cares?
Cue the laugh
track. You don't know what's going on in Nigeria.
Yeah, cue the clap track. No, it's true, though. I mean, and I think that's the thing is in the West, we've been pretty weak when it comes to understanding this and really what we're up against.
Well, what Mar said there is an indictment on all of our news outlets because none of them have been covering any of this stuff for years. And all of a sudden they wake up and be like, well, now we want to cover some of this stuff all of a sudden.
Yeah, and we've got to go back on what we've been saying. It's religion of peace.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
And, you know, I mean, now, symbolism matters. Did you know we have a new dime redesign?
No,
yeah, so in 2027, they're going to be releasing a new dime, 1 year only.
What?
Symbolism matters, right, folks? Everybody agree with this? So go ahead and take a look at this. This is our new dime, okay? Do you notice anything on this, Ron?
It's missing some arrows.
It's not missing some arrows. It's missing.
Oh, it's missing the wreath, the olive branches.
The olive branch, which represents what?
Peace.
Peace.
Oh, great.
It all clicks. Clunk, clunk, clunk. The new U.S. dime design has removed the olive branches from the eagle. The change is part of a semi-quincentennial program celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States. While traditional U.S. coinage often balances the olive branch of peace and arrows war readiness, the 2006 dime specifically focuses on the Revolutionary War theme. The redesign is temporary and authorized for 1 year only. According to the U.S. Mint, the dime will return to the standard Roosevelt design, which features the torch, oak branch, and olive branch in 2027. So, excuse me, I said 2027, 2026. Yeah. So this year and this year only, folks, you got the war dime. Okay, you got the war dime.
Is the other side the same?
Yep, the other side's the same. That, you know, it's one of those things, guys, symbols, monuments, myths.
This is a very interesting thing because now for all time immemorial, there'll be a 2026 dime with a little thing on it and everybody will go, hey, what was that about?
Save your dimes. They'll be worth something someday. It'll either be the last year of Rome or the first year of the empire.
Right. And 100 years from now, somebody's going to, how come Grandpa had all these dimes in the cow?
Well, that's when they were kicking some jihad ass. Okay, so Fraser says, my dime just does not have the eagle. It has the flame and branches. Okay, yeah, the branches. Okay, guys. So the other thing here is if you flash back to when Donald Trump gave his UN speech when he came into power, this is a flashback to it. Donald Trump sees this whole situation with clear eyes, right? We believe in sovereignty, right? You do you over there, boo, right? Yep. And if it weren't for nuclear weapons, we wouldn't be dealing with Iran, right? It's just a fact because they're contained within their borders. They kind of do their thing. We've got the trade stuff figured out, but the nuclear weapons does change everything. In fact, if there is an argument for one world government, it's the nuclear weapons. Right? We as little people, as little peasants, barely comprehend the power of nuclear weapons. I mean, we really don't get it. These weapons can scorch Earth and make Earth uninhabitable for millennia.
A long time.
Millennia, thousands of years, right?
Right.
I mean, we are not going to be occupying that little area in Nevada where they were doing all the testing anytime soon. And, you know, they talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki and how they've rebuilt. Yeah, but their cancer rates are still through the roof. Mm-hmm. Like you can still walk through those towns with Geiger counters. Okay?
Yep.
If they weren't so tight on space in Japan, they probably wouldn't have rebuilt there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so nuclear weapons change everything. And part of the challenge is nuclear weapons get smaller and smaller, right? The threat has always been the backpack bomb, right? So any adversary can do asymmetrical warfare. And we saw another terror attack yesterday. We'll talk about it here in a minute on the homeland, right? Anybody can do a terror attack. But one of the big threats is mass migration because now you can't control any of that stuff.
The previous administration also lost nearly 300,000 children. Think of that. They lost more than 300,000 children, little children, who were trafficked into the United States on the Biden watch, many of whom have been raped, exploited, and abused, and sold. Sold. Nobody talks about that. The fake news doesn't write about it. With many others, young children who are missing or dead. And we found a lot of these children and we're sending them back, and we've been sending them back to their parents. They said, nobody knows who they are. They said, where do you come from? And they'll give us a country and we'll find out and we'll figure it out and we'll bring them back to their homes. And the mother and father rush to the door and their tears in their eyes. They can't believe that they're seeing their son or daughter, their little son or daughter again. We've done almost 30,000 of them so far. Any system that results in the mass trafficking of children is inherently evil. Yet that is exactly what the globalist migration agenda has done, and it's what it's all about. In America, those days, as you know, are over. The Trump administration is working, and we are continuing to work to track down the villains that are causing this problem, and also, as I said, to get back the 30,000 we've already returned. Now I think we're going to have another. We're going to find a lot. You're not going to find all of them. 300, more than 300,000. They're lost or they're dead. They're lost or they're dead because of the animals that did this.
Right. That specifically was about child trafficking, but that speech goes on to talk about the other impacts of mass migration. Mm-hmm. Now, they did a program. I got to check. Don't put this on the screen quite yet. I want to make sure this is okay. So this was 2024 when Trump came into office. They did what was called Operation March Madness. Okay, and this was centered in Florida, which is one of the hubs of human trafficking, obviously. And this was the result of that, right? This is some of the 30,000 kids that were found and the perpetrators. Listen to this.
Sadness. A record 288 people arrested, including suspected illegal immigrants. A teacher.
Suspected. They're suspected. Like we don't know instantly whether they're legal or illegal.
Okay.
Coaches, even active duty military members were caught up in this sting. And Sheriff Judd is joining us this morning to talk more about this. First of all, great to have you. Thank you again for taking the time to be with us this morning.
Well, good morning, Amy. I'm glad to be with you in the Orlando area.
So, Sheriff Judd, there were some very disturbing, troubling parts of this story. What were some of the biggest things that disturbed you about this sting operation?
We had so many just jaw-dropping moments. When two 16-year-olds, 17-year-old brother came from Wesley Chapel, the next county over, to try to rob us with a BB gun. And they got arrested. And then you focus on the 21 people that were here illegally. That's right. Let me give you just a snapshot of 3 of, we believe, human trafficking victims. They wanted to come to the United States. So the human trafficker arranged for them to come here illegally. And then they got a voucher from DHS, flew to Yonkers, New York. She set up their prostitution stings. She had a handler that went with them every place. And she said, on Friday, you give me $3,000 apiece. So for just these 3 people, who knows how many she was working, she made $9,000 a week. And she made sure they flew around the country. So we asked them, well, you came from New York to Tampa to Lakeland. Is that correct? Yes. How'd you get here? Well, we had this voucher from DHS. They told us they're flying around the country on this federal voucher.
Sad.
What? You know, when we talk about the Democrats literally right now not funding DHS, well, last time, that's what DHS was up to. And the moment DHS actually gets their act together and starts trying to deport and find these people, what do the Democrats do? They freak out. Now, we've always thought, oh, it's because they want their voters. Maybe, or something else. I mean, this is like scary, scary stuff. Jumping back into Iran here, Colonel McGregor, who, again, you know, I don't always agree with him, and I don't like the way he approaches some of this stuff. He's got more experience than I do in war fighting, you know, and one of the things that's super obvious to me, it's like that you cannot predict war. I mean, it's not always the overwhelming power that ends up winning. Things are asymmetrical. We have not won a war since World War II, whatever that meant. You know what I mean? Vietnam, Korea, like you go on and on and on. We've had a couple military excursions that have been successful, kind of.
Yeah, and we put up banners that said mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Like
yeah, we didn't win in Iraq. We didn't win in Afghanistan. And it's the thing. We win every battle, but we lose the war. We didn't lose a single battle in Vietnam, but they're still communist. Hardcore. You know what I mean? So this is Colonel McGregor giving us a warning, because this conflict is not likely to resolve very quickly. And the blowback and the long tail of consequences will last for a long time. And some of the impact can be pretty dramatic.
First of all, if you need medication of any kind, you better go out and buy all the medicines you can get, because in a few months, they won't be available, because the petroleum industry has a big role to play in the production of pharmaceuticals. So that's my first piece of advice. And secondly, start thinking in terms of storing food and any other items that you think you may need, because as this war continues, and it's going to continue, the impact that I talked about earlier is going to be felt here. You had it. But in the meantime, I think you just need to prepare for the worst here. And once the stock market figures out, or the investors, the people in New York that run the financial system, who are largely part of the problem for us, they're going to say, oh my God, and you're going to watch the stock market tank, and you're going to watch the cost of a barrel of oil go up to 200 and potentially all the way to 3. And all of that is going to bring everything inside the United States to a screeching halt. First of all,
we are,
I
don't think I heard there's so much stuff happening. Oh my God. I heard a pundit talking about, basically, it was Bill O'Reilly. He said, essentially, this is a huge gamble going after Iran. And it was a small window of time. You can strike them now before they build their missile dome, and then you can't fix the nuclear problem. But you're also dealing with a theocracy. These are people who are more than willing to die for the cause. You know how stunning it was for American sailors to see a kamikaze pilot? Right?
Yeah.
Or to see a Japanese soldier in the jungle.
Well, yeah. And I'm sure they were all like going, what are they doing?
What are they doing? There's no self-preservation in these people.
Right.
Yeah, because they believe they're going to heaven. It's better over there. And so this is the same thing with the Vikings, dying in battle, going to Valhalla. It's the same thing with Islam. Dying in battle is the highest honor. You're guaranteed 70 virgins.
Well, remember, at the time when those kamikaze planes were hitting the ships, they had never seen anything like that on TV. Hollywood did not exist that way.
No.
So it really was like, what the heck is going on?
Yes. And that's the factor that we can't account for, because we project our goodness, our rationality. Well, they're going to eventually buckle because they're going to want their economy. They don't care about their economy, bro. They never did. You know what I mean? This Kim Jong-un is interesting, right? He went to school in Switzerland. He gets it. He does not drink the Kool-Aid that he sells, okay? He sells to his people that he's a God king. He knows he's not a God king. He parties with Dennis Rodman. He's a rock star, not a God king, okay? There's a difference there. Kim Jong-un has a desire for self-preservation. These guys don't. It's not the same. I mean, for anybody out here who's raised in a religion, right, especially a high demand religion that asks you to do things that was against the norms, you believe it. Otherwise, you don't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So these people really believe it. And the consequences are starting to spread. Yes, unbelievable amount of success in the first few days. Boom, Ayatollah's gone. Boom, 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 boom. But then the missiles start flying, right? And then the one-offs, the drone that makes it through the defense systems. Tel Aviv's got a lot of impacts on the ground. Israel is not allowing anybody to take videos or anything. They're like hardcore censorship right now. They do not want the world to know the impact that's happening on the ground. Netanyahu is living in an airplane. He's just flying around. He's rarely ever on the ground, right? And in Dubai last night, there was a drone that got through and it hit the iconic Harbor Creek Tower. So this is Dubai.
Oh, snap.
Now keep in mind, Dubai has become the new Singapore, right? Singapore's a little close to China. People have been relocating to Dubai. How do you think people in Dubai feel right now?
Oh, man. That thing's on fire.
Yeah. And, you know, it probably won't fall down like our towers did because it was probably built by real architects, apparently.
Or maybe it doesn't have any charges in it.
It doesn't have any charges in it. Exactly. Now, Israel and the United States have both given press conferences and briefings that have talked about how they're a little bit surprised that the people of Iran haven't stood up and taken back their country. I mean, we've neutered their leadership. Why can't you take to the streets like you did earlier this year or like you did last year or the year before or any other time? And the answer is pretty simple, because we're starting to get people fleeing Iran. And guess what their answer is?
John, when you talk to Iranians who have fled their country, who've crossed over the border here to Armenia, the main emotion you sense right away is fear. These are people on the run, leaving everything behind, often holding a suitcase, family members, and they are frightened. Here's what one man had to say to us. He was too scared to appear on camera. He said, "It's sometimes scary for my children. My daughter's very afraid of these noises. And yes, of course, we're scared of this." When we ask people, why are they leaving everything behind? Why are they fleeing their country? Why not perhaps stay and protest against this regime? One man said, "I'm not sure if you can protest against this regime. They have a religious view. So anybody who protests against them is God's enemy. They say protesters are heretics and you can kill them. They killed 40,000 protesters in 2 days. And in their point of view, they go to heaven for doing this." So that's the point of view potential protesters would be up against in Iran. John, back to you.
All right. Steve Harrigan for us, just across the Iranian border in...
I have a little familiarity with this because I went to a small protest in the District of Columbia a couple of years ago. And I don't think conservatives are going to be showing up at any protests anytime soon, especially if the regime in power is not of their political ilk. Right? It chilled protesting in America, just J6 alone, just through the lawfare. And they didn't even open fire on us. They just opened fire on Ashley, and that was tragic and horrible. Right? But it chilled free speech. It's amazing to me how many people, it's funny because during the 4 years, you know, I every now and then I'd meet somebody who went to J6 that wasn't arrested, and they'd always, I didn't even go on the lawn. I just stayed over by the White House. And then after J6 was over, multiple people, "Oh, dude, I was terrified. I went on the Capitol lawn. I just lied to everybody about what I did and where I went. I deleted my social media. I was running scared." I was like, so for 4 years, you sat silent because you were afraid the Gestapo was going to come to you.
Yeah, how come you didn't get out there and protest? Oh, I don't know.
Why didn't you protest? I don't know. You know, conservatives won't even take a survey because they're afraid they'll get put on the list.
Yes, they won't answer polls.
Yeah, this works. You know, killing protesters works. It has a strong deterrent.
Yeah,
and
it's a chilling
Netanyahu
effect.
had to give a speech just almost begging the Iranians, "Please take your government. Don't make us go boots on the ground." Right, but as long
and also, you know, we just rattled off a number of they just killed 40,000 people. You know, if they killed 40,000 people in America, this place would be on fire.
That's like the whole city of Bremerton.
Right.
I mean, it's It's nuclear impact kind of stuff.
Jeez.
We can't comprehend this.
Right.
Because we project our goodness onto them. And we're like, oh, they would just arrest them, right? Maybe torture them, pull out a fingernail. No. It's straight up massacre.
Yeah, they killed him times 40,000.
Yeah, to 40,000. And then you hear people, I don't know about this 40,000. Just show me pictures. Show me pictures.
All right. So say it's half. Okay, whatever.
Say it's half. Say it's a fourth. Say it's a fifth.
Right.
Say it's 1/10.
Right.
4,000 people, too many or too less? You know what I mean? Like, holy smokes, man.
They're just numbers.
They're just numbers. I mean, one death is a tragedy, but 40,000, that's the statistics. That's an arguable number. It wasn't that 40,000. Right. It was 39,223. You know, no. The Iranian regime has been killing people all over the Middle East and inspiring people all over the world to kill people. Iran, ISIS, ISIL, Al-Qaeda, Wahhabism. You can go on and on. These are extremist groups. And every religion has its extremists. There's Hindu extremists. There's even some weird Buddhist extremists, believe it or not, that kind of have their extreme bent and do violence and crime. You know, like, what are they called? What are the Japanese mafias called?
Oh,
Yakuza. Yeah, Yakuza. Okay, like everybody's got their extremists. Okay.
Well, I think
not Christians though. Christians never have extremists.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they send them out 2 by 2.
They send them out 2 by 2. Yeah, to convert the heart, and then the words, and then the hand. Yes, exactly. The Crusaders come last. Well, guess what? We took off the olive branch. The Crusaders have arrived. Okay. Here's Pete Hegseth giving this briefing yesterday, and we're going to listen to a couple of these clips here.
Alexandra Ingersoll, One American News. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Strait of Hormuz and when it might be fully operational again? And how do we ensure our objective of denying Iran a nuclear weapon if they continue to align with our adversaries?
So I'll take it and chime in, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like it all. I want to emphasize what the chairman said about that. The only thing prohibiting transit in the Straits right now is Iran shooting at shipping. It is open for transit should Iran not do that. Now, there's a reason why we chose as one of our primary objectives destroy the Navy. We understood the ability to interdict shipping is something Iran has done for 40 years. It's key terrain. They've used it as leverage. The world is seeing what they'll do to fight back in that context. And so we've heard them talk about taking various measures, and we're planning for all of them. So we have a plan for every option here. We're working with our interagency partners. And that's not a strait we're going to allow to remain contested or with a lack of flow of commercial goods. So we're aware of that. We're laser focused on our military objectives, but also want to make sure our partners across this government understand we're working with you to make sure that energy flows. And that's an important part. And the second question was on the nuclear capability. As we've said from the beginning, their strategy shifted just from defense of their nuclear facilities to a conventional umbrella of so many missiles that no one would challenge their ability to the opportunity to defeat their nuclear capabilities. And it was growing by the day. So with Iran at its weakest moment, going at that ballistic missile capability creates an opportunity to ensure at any point in time that Iran give up their nuclear capabilities, or if need be, you prevent them from doing it, as the president has done once already with Operation Midnight Hammer, obliterating those capabilities. So the conventional side is a huge part at getting at denying nuclear capabilities, if you have anything.
Okay. Ponyboy reminds us, he says, I'm sure they killed them and sent them the bill for the bullets, like you said. Yeah. So when I was in the DC Gulag, 2 of the J6ers were Iranian. And the father was actually there in, I think, 79 when they had their revolution. And he was imprisoned along with his friends. He had 5 friends that were in prison. 2 of them were murdered. They were all tortured. Like fingernails broke, tortured. He ended up, I think he was 3 years in prison. Then he got out and he fled into Pakistan, got asylum with a Catholic priest, made his way to France, made his way to the United States, named his son Francis because of France for giving him asylum. And now he's an American. And then he showed up on January 6th because, he didn't want this government to be overthrown, the government that took him in. And turns out he ended up going to prison a second time for politically protesting. And by the way, he said prison in Iran, aside from the torture, the food was better, the camaraderie was better. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. He was, he's not Muslim. He was Zoran. It's the religion that starts with a Z that kind of has, anyways, he was that religion. but he really did not like the Jews. Okay? He did not like the Jews. And, but I helped him get Jewish kosher meals because he hated the bologna sandwiches. One time he took his tray and he threw it up against the wall. And had he not been like a 70-year-old man, they probably would have like seriously written him up. He's like, I hate food. He threw it against the wall. So I helped him write up a grievance saying, it's my strongly held belief that I need to eat kosher meals or whatever. He got kosher meals. It was pretty funny. I was like, you got to use their words. You can't just say this food sucks, I want kosher. You have to say my strongly held religious beliefs. And so, but anyways, one of the things they shared with me was Iran was the regime there. If you were a dissident, they would send out their secret police and they would assassinate you. They'd shoot you. And then they would go and they would grab that bullet, right? That little piece of lead that would embed itself in the dirt behind the person that was shot. They would deliver that bullet back to the family and bill them for it.
Oh boy.
Just to rub it in. And that was something that they did, right? So yes, this is a tyrannical regime. And unfortunately, there's no good solutions. There are no good solutions here. Should we let them get a nuclear weapon and bomb themselves to heaven? You know what I mean? Along with us, and turn the world into a nuclear landscape? Do we let that happen? Or do we pay the collateral damage and try to eliminate the problem now? And come what way it may, maybe 90 million people are living in absolute chaos and Iran reverts back to Afghanistan, but without nukes. Is that the end of the world?
As long as there's enough virgins to go around.
May Allah provide. Please don't come after me. I'm already getting downloads in Israel, Russia, Japan. I'm getting nervous, you guys.
Are you visiting ISIS websites?
The show is growing internationally, and I don't want it to, okay? I'd rather more listeners in Texas, please. Okay. So this is Pete Hegseth talking about the Strait of Hormuz and the fact that Iran is now focusing on that specifically. It's their last piece of leverage.
All right.
And as the world is seeing, they are exercising sheer desperation in the Straits of Hormuz. Something we're dealing with. We have been dealing with it and don't need to worry about it.
We need to worry about it.
Yeah.
The critics are like, the United States is not prepared to deal with the Straits of Hormuz because it's way too easy to take out these tankers. And by the way, there's been a bunch of them. Right? That a couple days ago, I was like, well, there was a tanker hit, but I can't, nobody's sure if they hit some tankers and they're hitting them all the way from the coast of Iraq towards Hormuz, outside Hormuz. They're hitting anything and everything they can.
And are they doing this all with drones? Or are they doing boat drones?
Cigar boats? Okay. No, they're literally, okay. Do you remember the USS Cole?
Yes.
Okay. So my friend was stationed on the USS Cole. He was a Marine and he was stationed on the USS Cole in Yemen when it was bombed.
Ugh.
They pulled up in a rowboat.
Oh boy.
About sank the Cole. Okay. It was a big deal.
I didn't know it was a rowboat.
It was just a little boat just loaded with dynamite. And they just pulled up next to it. And they were like, stay away. Back off. Warning shot.
Oh man.
Big blast.
I bet they wish those weren't warning shots.
Yeah. Well, what happened yesterday was there was a attack boat that was coming in hot to the U.S. Abraham Lincoln, and they were firing with missiles or whatever they were from the shore. They couldn't hit the boat. So they had enough time to get a helicopter in the air, come over, and the helicopter had to take it out. Oh, we came really close yesterday to having, I think it was the Abraham Lincoln taking a direct hit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they couldn't get it with the deck guns. And that just shows that our battleships and our aircraft carriers are in their sights. They're coming for them now. They're kamikaze. They have nothing to lose. Okay, they have nothing to lose here. Pete Hegseth continues.
In parts of the party, particularly from your fellow Fox News alum Tucker Carlson, he called the war disgusting and evil, and then said of unconditional surrender, which the president has called for, means foreign troops get to rape your wives and daughters. Have you heard these comments, and what's your reaction to them?
We're busy executing on behalf of great patriotic Americans with a clear mission that's 47 years overdue. We're going to execute on that regardless of what people say about it. Yeah, right.
Tucker Carlson has run his mouth inappropriately, and he says things that are meant to be rhetorical.
That was Tucker?
Yeah, it was Tucker Carlson that said that. What Tucker Carlson said when Trump said unconditional surrender, Tucker goes, what does unconditional surrender mean? Unconditional surrender means we can rape your wives and kids. It's like, no, that's not what American unconditional surrender means, right? But it's implying that, oh, if we get unconditional surrender, we're just going to own Iran, right? And again, these words kind of matter, Tucker. You have one of the largest audiences on the planet, And I get that you're against war in all forms, flavors, and whatever, but lay down your life. You know what I mean? Like, you're constantly railing on illegal immigration and the changing demographics, and we're supposed to be a Christian nation, but I don't want to do anything about it. Well, you know what you have to do about it? You got to take Allah's advice and use the hand first. The words, the turning your own heart didn't work. Using your words didn't work. It's time to use the hand. Okay. So yesterday there was a one of the refueling, the USAF KC-135s went down. We lost a minimum of 6 airmen. They had to send out a search for it. These are one of the big refueling tankers. It went down.
Yes.
Now, at first it was like, oh my gosh, did we get one shot down? No, it was a mid-air collision between our two planes. So this is a better look at the partially sliced off tail of the USAF KC-135 involved in the mid-air collision over Iraq yesterday, back on the ground in Tel Aviv. This is the one that made it back. Whoa. Okay. So there was some consternation yesterday over what had happened. Let me show you. This is from years ago. This is from a couple years ago. And this is just, they videotape all this stuff. So this is one tanker refueling another tanker. I don't know why one tanker refuels another tanker. Either way, this is kind of what happened. So this isn't what happened, but you can see how dangerous this is. Our professionals that do this, they make it look easy, but when stuff goes bad, it's scary. Watch this. Oh no! Now watch. Boy. Whoa. Yep. So what happened, for those of you that are listening on audio, one plane flies above and in front of the other plane, and it drops its refueling line. Well, they got off and the back of the one plane dang near clipped the nose of the other plane, and one dove up, the other one dove down, and
it looked like it hit some turbulence or something. So
something like that happened yesterday, and you can see the damage on the one plane. So it clipped, or something happened and the one plane went down. This is sad. I mean, this is the collateral damage. Now, the other thing that happened too, I mentioned this earlier, was one of our battleships. Here's Mario Narfal. Thank goodness to guy. He's based out of Dubai, by the way. And last night he posted, I just showed you that video. He's like, I heard it. This is getting very real for me. It's in my neighborhood. Okay. CBS News, U.S. helicopter fired 2 Hellfire missiles at an Iranian vessel that got too close to the USS Abraham Lincoln. What did I say it was? Gerald Ford? Abraham Lincoln?
No, Abraham Lincoln.
Ship crew status unknown. So CBS, that the Abraham Lincoln got the helicopter up, fired the missiles. The Iranian guard says USS Abraham Lincoln sustained severe damage from Iranian missiles and drones. So here's where it goes. I'll bet money that the Iranians are massively over-exaggerating. Classic propaganda move. But one thing's clear. They have U.S. aircraft carriers firmly in their sights now. Yesterday, there was a car that ran into a synagogue and shot 3 people, got out, shot 3 people. And then he was subdued by an ROTC student who killed him with his bare hands. Okay. So he came in with a gun, shot 3 people, and an ROTC unit subdued him and terminated him with his bare hands.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah. Here's who it was. And the headline here is Sleeper Cell Activated. Old Dominion University shooter ID'd as Mohammed Jala, former Army National Guardsman, convicted in 2016 for attempting to provide material support to ISIS. Apparently he's back out. Naturalized citizen from Sierra Leone, released from federal prison in 2024 under Joe Biden. This is the guy, one of our soldiers, who swore allegiance, took an oath, gave material support to ISIS, served a 10-year prison sentence, got out, and then rammed his car into a synagogue and shot 3 people. Jeez. That is what we're dealing with. And this goes along with the mass migration, the tolerance for Sharia law. It's sometimes a stark reminder that Islam is an expansive ideology. And they don't send out missionaries 2 by 2 to preach good news. Okay. They do it a little bit differently.
So they say that by 2030, there will be a majority Muslim population in Europe, and they'll just flat out vote in Sharia law. And it won't just be no-go zones where they take over entire neighborhoods in Paris or around Belgium and London. No, they'll take over entire cities. And people forget, Egypt was completely Christian for 6 centuries. It's not anymore. All of North Africa was completely Christian for 6 centuries. It's not anymore. All in Turkey, all 7 churches mentioned in the book of Revelation were all in Turkey. And they were all taken over by the Muslim Turks. Constantinople was the largest Christian city in the world, and the largest Christian church in the world for hundreds of years was the Hagia Sophia, and it got turned into a mosque, and so they want to do the same thing with the Vatican. And recently they allowed Muslim prayers in the Vatican, so we see that's headed in that direction. Wow. And the tremendous number of burning of churches in Europe.
And if you talk about this,
Islamic immigration.
So, just like our city hall.
So did they get do they have the passwords to the Dominion servers, or how are they doing this?
Why send mass migrants when you could just clickety click? Hey, you guys voted in Sharia law. Yeah. Ron, that's a good question. It's kind of freaky deaky, isn't it? Huh. Man, what if we found out that Mandami was elected by voter fraud, run out of Iran because the Venezuela servers were down? I mean,
and we didn't just go completely crazy.
We didn't go completely crazy. I have to say, we did, though.
I know. We did go crazy.
That airplane flight I took with the 2 Zoomerwaffens was revelatory. Because we don't often communicate with people that are that ideological different or come from, New York City, people who live in New York
Unless
City.
You're trapped in a tube at 30,000 feet.
You're trapped in a tube at 30,000 feet, yeah. So the girl next to me, the whole conversation started, was, hi, where are you from? Okay, yeah, great. Yeah. And then I looked at her fingers. Now, I have a Jesus fish on my ring finger.
Sure.
Right? It's my wedding ring tattoo and
fish.
My declaration, right? Fisher of man.
Okay.
I look over at her finger and I see Hebrew writing and I see Arabic writing. Okay. So I ask her, what's up with that? And she mentions, well, she's Jewish and that's why she has the Hebrew, which she can't be that Jewish because Jewish people don't get tattoos. Reformed Jews can do whatever they want. And then she has Arabic on her hand and it's like Arabic for peace or something like that, right? And she's she was trying to be multiculturalism. So then she goes into talking about how she's been studying because she super supports Israel. She is Jewish. And she even said, I'm only going to marry a Jewish man because I want to raise my kids Jewish, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, well, you're in it, even though you're a Reformed Jew and you're getting tattoos and you're flipping around and you lived with a transgender, it was binary at first and then became a transgender male. So basically you're a part lesbian, you know what I mean? So anyways, I was like, okay, so whatever. But clearly you have this multicultural thing going on. And she was super against the Palestinians and they can't combine with Israel, blah, 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 blah. But then she's like, I think Mandami is great. He's awesome. His wife is amazing. His wife was supporting the massacre that you're studying. See how I'm like, we've lost. We've lost the plot. Okay. When even the Jewish woman who supports Israel totally supports the genocide in Palestine, votes for Mandami and campaigns for him. You know what I mean? It's like your communism is clouding your eyes because you just really want free buses, which just goes to emphasizes the buses will be free. This is all over. Okay. One way or the other. Either Allah pays or Jesus pays, but somebody's paying for the buses. Now, don't be fooled here. Okay. This is a time for patriotism. This is a time for you to look around and recognize the world you live in. Your creator, whoever you claim it to be, planted your feet on a piece of dirt, and that spot is holy and it was given to you. Okay. You belong to where you were born. You are a national of the North American continent, the United States of America, the state you were born, the city you were born. That is where God put you, and you have an unalienable right to be there. When I see this here, this is Nick Fuentes. I don't play a lot of clips from him, but he is one of these Zoomerwaffens. Now, he's Zoomerwaffen super far to the right? But you have Zoomerwaffen super far to the left, but they're Zoomerwaffens. They have an absolutist line in the sand based on whatever their perception of their values are. Remember, everybody thinks they're rational in their own minds. Nobody ever walks around going, I'm crazy. Everybody thinks they got it figured out.
Right.
This is what we can't have. We can argue about tax rates. We can argue about social safety net policies. We can argue about whether we should or should not have fishing licenses, blah, 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 blah. But what you can't root against is your country. You can't root against your neighborhood. Don't root against the home team. This is Nick Fuentes. He's talking to millions and millions and millions. He's probably got the largest following under 30 years old, possibly in the world. So he's no small guy. He's been completely shut out from mainstream media. But when he's streaming online, he has thousands upon thousands upon thousands of followers who are very dedicated. This is not America first.
So I'm rooting for Iran to survive. I'm rooting for Trump to walk away. I'm rooting for deterrence to be reestablished. This is not a war, ironically, that we want to win. This is maybe a war that it's better if we lose. Better if we have a strategic defeat.
Okay.
So I might not like everything. I might not like the collateral damage, but I can see clear enough that you can't let the crazy guys that will cut off girls' heads because they don't want to have sex with them, or will burn some Canadian businessmen because they've been determined to be heretics, or that will do any number of horrors because they act first with their hand.
The 40,000 protesters.
40,000 protesters. I can't concede the ground. Right? Now, Nick Fuentes is big mad because there's not mass migration. He has endorsed everybody but a Republican when it comes time. He is a disruptor. He's an accelerationist. He wants to see it all burn down so him and his 105 pounds soaking wet can rule the ashes. Right? And this is a guy with questionable morals. Okay. I'm just saying that attitude, I want to see America lose. Maybe we should have a strategic defeat here. This is echoed in all parts of our media. You got the Zoomerwaffens, but you also have the Boomerwaffens too. Okay. ABC News released a report, and we had briefly touched on this. Breaking, the FBI warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against the West Coast, according to the alert by ABC News. This got 10 million views on it. Okay. And then, update. The FBI has posted the fuller version of its alert to California authorities, which includes that information was, what does that say? Unverified. A single source, unverified. And 10 million people were now running around going, oh my gosh, Iranian drones are in California. Well, or not. So Carolyn Levitt, who had to kind of get on top of this in order to get them to retract that story, she says, thank you, ABC News, for issuing a correction to this story. The problem, their original misleading story received 10 million views, panicked people all across the country. The correction only has 100,000 views. Right. The lie makes it all the way around the world before the truth gets up and puts its pants on. Fake news is real and it's dangerous. The Trump White House is working 24/7 to keep up with it and fight back. Right. It's a propaganda war out there for both sides.
Yep.
The Iranians are saying they got the Abraham Lincoln, and we're like, no, we didn't. Okay.
We're still floating.
Still floating. Exactly. It's a propaganda war both directions. So this is a time of sifting. You have to choose what side you're on. I'm on team peasant, which means I'm on your side. I want you to be successful and happy in your neighborhoods and in your families and in your communities. You fix your mind, you fix your house, you fix your city, you fix your county, you fix your state, you fix your federal government. I don't know that we'll ever fix the world, right? But it's inward to outward, not outward to inward. Ron, what do we got here for us?
Well, nothing yet.
Well, because keep hitting refresh over and over and over until something finally comes out.
I've been hitting it.
It's so bad. Oh, okay. Well, I do have a one-off story here, and this is Cuba. So Cuba had a press conference this morning. This is the president of Cuba, the heir of Castro, and they had this press conference, and I'm going to play just a couple minutes of it. This is for Pony Boy.
Con la política consistente que siempre ha presentado la Revolución Cubana. Bajo la dirección del general de ejército como líder histórico de nuestra revolución y la mía, y colegiado con las principales instancias del partido, el gobierno y el Estado cubano, funcionarios cubanos.
Pony Boy, you're going to have to tell us what he's saying.
Yeah, what's the flag?
Conversaciones con representantes del gobierno de los Estados Unidos para buscar por la vía del diálogo la posible solución a las diferencias bilaterales que existen entre nuestras dos naciones. Estos intercambios han sido favorecidos por actores internacionales. Y aquí me quiero detener. Siempre que hemos estado en situaciones tensas en las relaciones con los Estados Unidos, aparecen esfuerzos por buscar canales de diálogo, por buscar conversaciones. No es la primera vez que Cuba entra en una conversación de este tipo. Yo creo que la más reciente, el ejemplo más reciente.
Okay, so
I understood one word.
United States of America. That's what you heard. Thought of the news. The historic moment when dictator of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel, announces that on a national broadcast, they have given into pressure and are officially in negotiations with the United States. The Cuban regime is completely surrendered is on the brink of death. So let's read Grok's summary here. The Post shares 142 clip of Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel's televised address announcing initial bilateral talks with the U.S. to address differences framed by the author as the regime's surrender and economic collapse. The March 13th, 2026 announcement follows Cuba's release of 51 political prisoners, coincides with the intensified U.S. pressure under Trump, including oil shipment blockades from Venezuela, exacerbating nationwide blackouts and protests. The Fed replies predominantly celebrate the development as a step toward regime change, with the user drawing parallels to past U.S.-Cuba thaws like the 2014 Obama era, though official statements emphasize mutual benefits without immediate policy shifts. So this is significant. This is a pretty big deal here. So I like it. I like it. Trump's got Cuba. Okay.
This probably means that there won't be any action in Cuba.
No discombobulators. See, there's a difference between the Iranians and the Cubans, and the Cubans don't drink their Kool-Aid. Right? They might be communists for whatever reason, but they still want to live. They're not going to give their lives for the cause, right? They like living fat on the hog. They have a self-preservation instinct.
Good.
The others don't. I'll never forget my friend that went and spent a bunch of time in Afghanistan, and he was, guarding poppy fields, basically getting in firefights with Russians that put turbans on so they could pretend to be a Taliban. It was they were just crazy. But he told me one time there was this farmer out there farming, and he had this old Ford Massey tractor. It was an old tractor. It was like a 1950s tractor, old one. But he's out there, and he's got his kids walking in front of the tractor.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what do you think they're doing?
They're searching for mines.
He's making sure that he doesn't hit a mine with his tractor.
Right.
And when they asked him, hey, man, that's dangerous. Why are you letting your kids out there doing that? And he goes, well, I can make a new kid. I can't get a new tractor.
Right.
That was his response. Okay. They have a different mindset. Right or wrong, it's wrong. Right or wrong, that's their mindset, and you're not changing it. That's not something that you change with a purple thumbprint election one or two times. You know what I mean? That is a cultural shift there. Just like in America, what is our culture? Our culture is to make a profit, right? Everything we do is for what?
Money.
As Marion G. Romney, the ambassador to New Mexico years ago, and future first presidency member of the Mormon Church, who said that he would spend the rest of his life repenting for what he had done in Mexico. He said the business of America is business. And what is the purpose of business? To make a profit. And when's a good time to make a profit? When there's chaos. Tim Burkhart tells us the truth. Why are oil prices up so high? How many barrels of oil does America buy from Iran? Zero. So why did our prices go up?
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett just filled up the dually diesel yesterday. I decided to do that instead of sending my daughter to school next year. But the reality is, they're ripping us off. Diesel is like the second cut they take off it when it comes out of the ground. I think it goes kerosene and diesel and then gasoline, and diesel is the most expensive. And I'm sure they can make some sort of, they'll bring out the economic experts, to cover themselves on that. Another thing that really ticks me off about it is that they've, when the price of oil, like they say, well, it's, this whatever happens overseas is causing this to happen. But then when you go to the hardware store or the auto parts store and you buy a quart of oil, guess what? The price hasn't gone up. The price of the gasoline in the tank is going up, and that's gasoline that is probably months from it was in the ground, and then it was converted into gasoline at a refinery. So the whole thing is just ridiculous. It's greed. And eventually we're going to come to a point in technology, say coal turning coal into oil and gasoline, as the Germans did during the Second World War. But guess what? The technology hasn't advanced since then. It's still cheaper just to get oil out of the ground than to convert coal, which we have a lot of. And how much oil does America get from Iran? Zero. That's how much. This is a scam, and these oil companies, shame on them. They're using this opportunity to make record profits once again. So, you got to ask yourself, even if we were getting it, what about the stuff that's already in the pipeline, that's already been paid for, the gasoline that's in the tank at your neighborhood filling station? How does it go up exponentially when something happens overseas? It's a scam. Gasoline goes up like a rocket, and it comes down with a parachute and never gets back down to where it should be. Technology, all that technology in the world, we're going to eventually figure out how to crack that hydrogen molecule and run our cars off of water, I think. I don't care what the scientists tell you right now. They tell you all this stuff. The man couldn't run a 4-minute mile, can't go 100 miles an hour in an automobile, you can't breathe. We're not going to go to the moon. Tim Burchett's not going to get elected to Congress. You hear all those things. Guess what? They happened. Anyway, thank y'all for sending me here. Pray for our country.
He is by far right now my favorite politician. He goes into Congress in a Carhartt jacket. He's like, and it's not really his shtick. I had to fill up my dually instead of send my daughter to school next year.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably show up for the Carhartt, but I don't know about the dually. But he's not wrong. I mean, diesel, it should be the cheapest thing out there. It really should. And the fact that it's more expensive than gas is criminal.
It's like he said, they drilled it out of the ground months ago.
Yeah.
And now it's in your gas tank, but yet they're raising the price on a commodity.
And he calls that a scam. It's not a scam. That's just business.
Exactly. The business of America is scamming you out of your money.
That's right. That's right.
How much will you pay? That's the question. How much will you pay?
Exactly.
It's not how much did it cost me with a little margin on top. It's how much will you pay? When I was in college, and I was studying Europe, I had a professor who'd lived there. He'd lived in France. He was on a mission there, and he'd been to Europe like 100 times. You'd take students there and do tours and stuff like that. And when we were doing kind of our tour through Europe and how the different economies work and stuff, it was interesting because in Germany, they prioritize efficiency and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And you're not rewarded in Germany for showing up early to work or staying late. In fact, it's considered bad because that means you have an out of balance life. You're not giving attention to your family. Whereas here in America, it's like, show up early, stay late, neglect your family. Right? It's completely different. They obviously right now have like a 4-day work week. They've taken it a little bit too far, but back then they really emphasized the balance, and they also emphasized making a fixed profit amount, 20%, profit and overhead. And Americans are like, what will you pay? And Germans like, well, it costs us this 20%. That's fair.
Well, and then at the end of the quarter, everybody announces their earnings. Well, this quarter, guess what we did?
And see, Germany wasn't run by a stock market. Right? It was run on cash flow, so 20% was enough for cash flow. Right. We run on a stock market where, we want to post profits. Profits for who? You know what I mean? Again.
And then they always do some Mickey Mouse with the numbers to make it look like one thing.
In 2022, a huge oil executive, right? One of these big oil executives. Who was it? Was it Katzmatidis? Billionaire businessman John Katzmatidis and chairman CEO of United Refining Company admits on April 4th, 2022 interview on Fox News that guess what? Fossil fuels are not fossils. And we are not running out. The whole scarcity thing came from one guy back in the 60s or 50s that was hypothesizing on where oil was coming from. It comes from dinosaurs and vegetation that's miles underground. Okay, right? Well, there's been tons of research showing that fossil fuels are actually renewables because they're not really fossils. And he says it straight up.
But it doesn't look like he is going to change course, John, because that would certainly show that his climate change agenda has been a failure.
Maria, Alaska has 100 years worth of oil, over 100 billion barrels. Canada has 180 billion barrels. And Maria, that does not count the Arctic Ocean off the coast of Canada and Alaska. I mean, it's infinite.
What I was looking for.
It's infinite because The earth makes oil. It isn't like the old days. People said, "Oh, it's from dead dinosaurs." That's not from dead dinosaurs. Right. The earth produces the oil.
But it doesn't look like he is going to change course, John, because
so it kind of changes our whole perspective on it. Maybe we can just,
even if the earth produces it, it's not infinite. Come on, buddy. The earth occupies some time and space.
Yeah, but the point is it's not something like, yeah, if you clear cut the forest, you have no trees, but it will eventually grow back.
Yes.
Right. It's kind of the same thing. Like our oil reserves are kind of unknown because they replenish. I mean, this is one of the things they found out in Pennsylvania. These oil wells, they're dry. They left them. 10 years later, they come back and they're producing as much as they did when they ran before they ran dry.
Right.
So it's just like an aquifer. Drain the water, give it enough time, it'll refill.
I was going to say, this is just like a cycle for water.
Yes, it is. It's like so you want to moderate what.
So somehow we don't ever run out of fresh water. Somehow, I don't know how, but somehow we don't ever run out.
Exactly. Because there's a natural cycle. We are tiny on this planet.
Yes.
Right? We are tiny. When you live in a concrete jungle, New York, the Eastern Seaboard in the United States, Singapore.
It's easy to get fooled into overpopulation theories.
It is. And then you move out west and you're like, this is vast. When I drive along the Highway 101, driving past the Hood Canal Bridge, and you go up the hill there past Shine, and you come up to that that's not Happy Valley up there. But anyways, there's kind of a big valley before the road turns. And every time I drive up there, I see this big valley and I think you could put 1 million people in this valley.
Oh, yeah.
You could put 1 million people right here in this little corner of Washington that nobody pays attention to.
Yeah. All you need is another Costco and you'd be good.
Another Costco and you'd fill, it'd be a beautiful little neighborhood with great views all around. It's vast.
I think about that too. And I also think, how come we don't ever have any new cities?
Oh, Donald Trump, do you remember when he was running? He talked about the things he wanted to do. He wanted to do new cities with vertical takeoff vehicle technology and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. He wants to turn 0.2% of our federal land into 10 new megacities and allow technologists to go in there and build, these new towns. But he's got to deal with the cabal.
He needs to do it right here. He needs to buy the Seahawks.
Buy the Seahawks. We've got a lot of people leaving Washington here really soon, so you're going to have a lot of vacant buildings to work with.
Howard Schultz's home is open.
Did you see what Howard Schultz did to the legislature while they were voting on that? So when they voted on it, he put his little letter saying, "I'm moving to Florida and we're happy." I should have grabbed it, but he sent them all Starbucks coffee and, their little carrier things with a little note that said, "Please enjoy your Starbucks coffee, something, something. I'm enjoying sunny Florida." He sent it to all the Democrats when they were voting. This is Howard Schultz, who pushed BLM, pushed LGBT, forced it onto you through your coffee shops, who then, when he realized it wasn't very popular because, Larry Frink goes, maybe the pendulum swung too far in how we pushed everybody to push DEI. Then they backed off it and gave us the Christmas cups back, right? This is the same Howard Schultz who's now like, I can't believe you guys are charging me taxes. Howard, we don't negotiate with terrorists, okay? The Democrats in Washington
wasn't that like the stronghold for the DEI army?
Yes, it was, exactly. And that's the thing. Maybe Howard Schultz is like, well, I was trying to play nice with the Democrats and acquiesce so that it could have decent business relationships.
Sure.
But eventually, the left cannibalizes itself every time. Just like libertarians, we cannibalize ourselves, right? Okay. So another really interesting thing, Ninth Circuit, which is our little circuit here, Ninth Circuit Appeals Court, put out a decision yesterday. There was a lawsuit with the Korean spa. It was the Olympus Spa, a traditional Korean women-only spa here in Seattle, that did not want to allow transgenders into the spa. It's a nude spa.
Okay.
Women only.
Okay.
They didn't want to allow women into the spa. Well, the court in Seattle said you have to let these transgender women in because you don't know they're not women. And then it went to the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit affirmed that. So I'm going to read to you the dissent. Okay, this is the dissenting opinion. Van Dyke, circuit judge, dissenting from the denial of rehearing in Bonk. This case is about swinging dicks. The Christian owners of Olympus Spa, a traditional Korean women-only nude spa, understandably don't want them in their spa. Their female employees and female clients don't want them in their spa either. But Washington State insists on them. And now so does the Ninth Circuit. You may think swinging dicks shouldn't appear in a judicial opinion. You're not wrong. But as much as you might understandably be shocked and displeased to merely encounter that phrase in this opinion, I hope we can all agree it is far more jarring for the unsuspecting and exposed women at Olympus Spa, some as young as 13, to be visually assaulted by the real thing.
Super based, and super true. Now, the majority opinion criticized the dissenting opinion, and this is the weaponization of your virtue. This is when parents go to school boards with the books their children checked out at the elementary school library. And just try to read them.
And they get arrested. They get their microphones turned off. They get told they can never come back. Don't read that. That's offensive. And they're like, my child brought this home from school.
Right. He's in fourth grade.
Putting your shame in your face. So that the system says the American legal system has long been regarded as a place to resolve disputes in a dignified and civil manner, or, as Justice O'Connor put it, to disagree without being disagreeable. It is not a place for vulgar barroom talk, nor is it a place to suggest that fellow judges have collectively lost their minds or that they are woke judges complicit in a scheme to harm ordinary Americans. That language makes us sound like juveniles, not judges, and it undermines public trust in the courts. The lead dissent's use of such coarse language and invective may make for publicity or entertainment value, but it has no place in a judicial opinion. The lead dissent ignores ordinary principles of dignity and civility and demeans this course. Neither the parties nor the panel dissent found it necessary to invoke such rude and vitriolic language. Decorum and collegiality demand more. This is judges having their virtue weaponized. Well, we have to have decorum, but this is a case about swinging dicks. This is about little kids and women who are in the nude in a private place, a private club, not wanting to see swinging dicks. If you can't say it for what it is, if you have to talk about this in these existential terms of male, women, gender projection, and blah, 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 at the end of the day, when you take your clothes off, there are no chicks with dicks. There are only dudes with boobs. Okay. And the dudes shouldn't go into a women only spa. It's that simple. It's that simple. But as many of you tuned off as we read that, you're part of the problem too, right? Because you can't look it in its face and see it for what it really is. You can't call out tyranny. You can't call out oppression. You can't call out things that are antithetical to our way of life as Americans. Dr. Ben Carson mentions COVID. Last night, I didn't grab this video because it wasn't, I think I forgot to save it because I was looking for it this morning, but I showed it to my wife. There's a young woman, 29 years old, sitting in a hospital bed. And she's like, she's on vacation. She woke up having heart troubles. She just couldn't breathe. And her heart was having trouble. So they went to the ER, and the ER started doing EKGs, and they put a catheter up their heart. And they said, well, you haven't had a heart attack. They suspected she was having a heart attack, but you have inflammation all around your heart. So she's laying there in the hospital bed, and she says, the doctors told me this is probably because I got the COVID vaccine. She's 29 years old now and has a permanent heart condition from the COVID vaccine. And the doctors told her that. But for a lot of years, they denied that was a problem, right? The myocarditis, pericarditis, the sudden death, the massive increase in all-cause mortality, the cancer rates. It's interesting.
Just the inflammation that has no name.
On the verge of getting cures for cancer, suddenly everybody's got cancer, right? So Dr. Ben Carson talks about this. We can't forget what happened during COVID. They got people to their virtue to be weaponized.
For several years, we've had to put up also with a lot of lies and obfuscations that really have disrupted public trust. And of course, I think of COVID. Here we have a situation where Dr. Fauci et al. Said, don't need to wear a mask. Then, well, you do need to wear a mask. Maybe you need to wear two masks or a mask made up, but eventually admitting that there was no science behind any of what he was saying and telling people that, if you get the shot, you can't transmit the disease. There are no real side effects, where, of course, we know that the side effects from COVID vaccinations far exceeded anything else in the last 30 years combined. we haven't been truthful about that. It's important for us to lend our voices to that, and not to just let it be swept under the rug, as is the case in so many cases. And then I think we need to educate people.
We can't let it be swept under the rug, right? COVID was a huge psyop. Ron, what do we got there? I actually need just a second, so go ahead.
I wanted to click it 2 seconds ago because it was going down. All right, here's a little inside scoop. Many creators are talking about behind the scenes. It's actually one of the reasons I'm using Rumble. They made a way to super chat creators so you can get paid immediately and without any fees. YouTube and Twitch take up to 50% fees when you tip creators. This method takes none. That's right, the platform takes zero fees. It's nearly 100% of what you send to me. You can super chat with Bitcoin, Tether USD, or even Tether Gold stablecoins. The tip will show up directly on our Rumble chat, which I'll do my best to read. I'm going to let Taylor do that. All you need to do is download the Rumble wallet on the store app and send the tips to your favorite creators. You can go to wallet.rumble.com, or you can download the app directly from the app stores. Seriously, what an amazing way to get rid of the middleman and help the creators' economy. Shout out to Rumble for making this disruptive technology. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm trying to find a...
What you looking for?
The White House put out a website that I gotta find. I have to show it to you guys.
Is this the one where they're giving out bounties?
No, this is a COVID website.
Oh.
I've got to show it to you. I've got to find it. I have to find it.
Okay. Well, I can't read another ad yet, but I can go ahead and tell you about one.
Freebie.
This is a freebie ad. Want to cook like a boss at your next camping trip? Then it's time to camp the way the pioneers did, with hand-forged U.S.-made camping tripod from Ironheart Forge. Each tripod is handcrafted right here in the United States, built with the kind of durability and reliability that only a real blacksmith work can deliver. Whether you're hanging on to your Dutch oven over the fire or setting up a full camp kitchen, this tripod is made to handle the heat and to last for years of adventures. And right now, you can save 25% on your order when you go to grab the S-Hook and tripod bundle, giving you everything you need to cook over the fire the right way. So if the gear that you want built like you should, strong, reliable, and made to last, it's time to upgrade your camp setup. Shop Ironheart Quality. Shop Ironheart Forge. There you go. That's a freebie. Do I need to do another one?
I can't believe we just gave him a freebie. That's crazy. I actually do have something. Let me do this.
All right.
Okay, so this is going to buy me like 40 seconds, which I should. Okay, so
something I didn't want to.
Okay, so we do have a commercial for Left Behind and Without, which is really cool. All right, so let's.
She watched the world, feeling invisible. Her father's absence, a heavy silence. But a supportive hand reached out, offering a rhythm, a beat, a dance. She was no longer just a girl with a father in prison. She was a dancer. She was supported. She was loved. Every child deserves the chance to discover what they love. In the United States, 1 in 28 children has a parent who is incarcerated. These children are in our communities and deserve the chance to thrive. Join us in supporting kids impacted by incarceration.
Yeah, don't watch that. That's a great commercial. That's leftbehindandwithout.org, helping children with incarcerated parents go to sports and dance, and it's a really great program. I think, Marie, how many people are in the program right now? 130 kids currently being what? 130 kids are being helped. Not all of them are like actively, but they're on the Christmas list and the birthday list and stuff like that. Okay, so the White House put out a post 2 days ago, and I keep trying to use it. Now I can't find it, but it was, don't read this. It was, and it was a link to a COVID-19 website that they put out, and we really have to find it here. White House COVID-19. Gotta find it here. Gotta find it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me put it up here. So the White House put out this link yesterday. And obviously COVID is a huge part of this show's origin, right? It was COVID that was like, we got to do something. And so they put out this website and they put a little link that said, don't read this. And then, of course you're going to click on it. So it goes through here and it talks about COVID-19, the true origins of the COVID-19. It talks about 1, the virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. The data shows all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans, which runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. Wuhan is China's foremost SARS research lab, which was conducting gain-of-function research, gene-altering organisms. Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at a wet market. Nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of natural origin, it would have already surfaced. Mm-hmm. So then it goes through and it shows you here, right? You've got the Wuhan Institute of Virology, it's 7 miles away. There's the seafood market. Mm-hmm. And then it goes through proximal origin publication, gain of function research. And this is where they start throwing people under the bus. These were the things that you were not allowed to say. You would get thrown off YouTube. You'd get thrown off Facebook. You'd get thrown off everywhere. EcoHealth Alliance, under the leadership of Peter Daszak, used taxpayer-funded dollars to pay for it. New evidence also shows that the Department of Justice has opened an investigation in EcoHealth Alliance pandemic-era activities. NIH failures, NIH procedures for funding and overseeing potentially dangerous research are deficient, unreliable, and pose a serious threat to both public health and national security. Further, NIH fostered an environment that promoted evading federal record-keeping laws, as seen through the actions of Dr. David Moraines and FOIA lady Marge Moore. And then look at this. A full unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States which he may have committed or taken part in from January 1, 2014. It posts the Anthony Fauci pardon. This is coming hard after these guys.
Super disgraceful.
HHS obstruction. The Biden administration engaged in a multi-year campaign of delay, confusion, and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the Select Committee investigation and hide evidence that could incriminate or embarrass public senior health officials. All the people that said they're lying, guess what? They were right. EcoHealth President Peter Daszak obstructed a Select Committee investigation by providing publicly available information, instructing his staff to reduce the scope and pace of productions and doctoring documents before releasing them to the public. Dr. David Moraines, Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, deliberately obstructed the Select Committee, unlawfully deleted federal COVID-19 records, and shared nonprofit information about NIH grant process with EcoHealth Alliance with Dr. Peter Daszak. New York obstruction. The New York Executive Chamber, presently led by Kathy Hochul, redacted documents, offered numerous illegitimate privilege claims, and withheld thousands of documents without an apparent legal bias to obstruct the Select Committee's investigation of the former governor's pandemic. Then it's got this link where obviously Rand Paul is grilling the different authorities. World Health Organization talks about the World Health Organization. Social distancing, the 6 feet apart social distancing recommendation, which shut down schools and small businesses across the country, was arbitrary and not based on science.
Trust the science.
During the closed-door testimony, Dr. Fauci testified that the guidance was just sort of appeared. They closed businesses. People went out of businesses. People went bankrupt. Marriages were destroyed. Children had to be taken out of private schools.
People went to jail.
People were assaulted by police officers for not wearing a mask and social distancing. We could go through video and video and video and video. Go find season 1. I mean, it's just full of it. Mask mandates. There was no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protected Americans from COVID-19 in public. Public health officials flip-flopped on the efficiency of masks and failed causing a massive uptick in public distrust.
Well,
guilty people walking around in masks.
Recall in Washington State, there was a COVID shot mandate, and if you didn't get the shot, you lost your job.
And now they've taken that authority to be able to enforce it next time.
Yeah.
Without, prolonged lockdowns cause immeasurable amount of harm to the American economy, but also the mental and physical health of Americans with particularly negative effect on younger citizens. Rather than prioritizing the protection of the most vulnerable populations, federal and state government policies force millions of Americans to forego crucial elements of a healthy and financially sound life. New York pandemic failures. Andrew Cuomo, March 25th order, forced nursing homes to accept COVID patients was medical malpractice, as evidence shown that Mr. Cuomo and his administration worked to cover up the tragic aftermath of the policy decisions in an apparent effort to shield themselves from accountability.
Yeah, that tragic aftermath was all the people that died.
Yes.
Ugh.
I have a video that I posted on my X just before I got arrested, or just before I went to January 6th, where I have my septic tank installer, the guy that used to sell me septic tanks. His dad died alone in a nursing home, and they couldn't have a funeral. Ugh. No funeral for his father because they couldn't gather. So they had no funeral. He went into the ground without a funeral, and he couldn't visit him in his last years because the nursing home wasn't allowing anybody in. It was nonsense.
I've heard so many stories like that. People in the hospital that couldn't get visited, people in nursing homes that couldn't get visited. It's horrible.
Public officials often misled the American people through conflicting messaging, knee-jerk reactions, and lack of transparency. Most egregiously, the federal government demonized alternative treatment and disfavored narratives, such as the lab leak theory, in a shameful effort to coerce the American people's health decisions. When those efforts failed, the Biden administration resorted to outright censorship, coercing and colluding with the world's largest social media companies to censor all COVID-19 related dissent. So they have a large report that you can get and follow that. It's huge. It's huge. That's a big thing. You can never forget. You can never forget what these people did to us. Mm-hmm. This is what the people who decided not to get vaccinated, the people who didn't want to put a mask on, the people that tried to continue on with their lives, this is what they were up against.
You are the unvaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem, period, end of story.
The only people that you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, are the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you, as will the rest of us who have done the right thing by getting vaccinated.
Because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated.
I think it's time to get our moral house in order, Anderson. It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
Vaccinated folks are going to start wearing masks to protect the unvaccinated folks. It's called a Christian value.
You're basically punishing the vaccinated for the sins of the unvaccinated.
People are not behaving honorably. The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me. I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated are basically beating their breasts, running around the country saying, we don't care, we're living free, and so forth.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
The unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children. And the rest of us are starting to get pissed off.
The vaccinated feel the unvaccinated are making me upset or angry.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
You are the unvaccinated.
Yeah, those Arnold Schwarzenegger lines. Screw you and your freedom. F your freedom. That's what we had to live through. And guess what? You're welcome for your freedom. If everybody had rolled over and laid down and played along, we'd already live in our dystopian universe. Yeah. We wouldn't have Donald Trump as president. I'd still be in prison. You know
we might be doing a podcast, but it would sound a lot different.
It'd be parables. We've come a long ways. We've come a long ways, but you could never forget how we got here, right? Absolute, utter, total distrust of the government. Why? Because you should never trust the government ever. I don't care if you're talking about the British Empire. I don't care if you're talking about the Ottomans. I don't care if you're talking about Israel. I don't care if you're talking about Rome.
And not even when things are going great.
It's so funny. I've watched two videos that were filmed decades ago. One was filmed in the early 90s. The guy's talking about the Trading with the Enemies Act and how corrupt the government is. Going on. He's like, it's about to be over. There's another one that I didn't watch yesterday that was in the mid-90s. If people knew what was really happening, there'd be riots in the street. Another one where a guy was doing public disclosure for when Kingdom went down. I talked to the guy who did the public disclosure violations and got the largest pay. They had to pay him $1 million because they didn't do the public disclosure.
Oh,
turns out every economic study they did on destroying the Kingdom and having public taxpayer funds pay for it and stuff like that said it was bad. Economic impact was bad. But our governor came out, it's good, we got to do it. And he ended up getting all the disclosures, of course, after it was all torn down and rebuilt, showing that they should have never done that. And anyways, but he was like, I knew politics, are always a little sleazy, but I didn't know they were this corrupt. This is absolutely horrible. I'm like, that was before Jay Inslee and Bob Ferguson got in, Yeah.
That was before a bunch.
That was before we had Dominion voting machines. I mean, imagine what it could be now. There's we play clips from Alex Karp. He's the CEO of Palantir, and he had something interesting to say, because a lot of people are like, Palantir's going to create the digital surveillance network and stuff like that. And it's kind of one of those things where you have to look at it and go, this is de facto. Like, this is here. It's happening. We're not getting around it. And he says, for all the people out there that think we're building the control grid, it's actually the opposite. We're building the grid that's actually going to give you freedom of speech instead of take it from you.
Conspiracy theorists, you may hate this, but there's one person protecting your right to be a conspiracy theorist that actually has a seat at the table, and that person is me. You may not want to hear that truth, but it is fucking true. Yeah. And maybe do a little more reading before you pontificate on your absurd and obviously ill-informed and many times stupid opinions. Okay. So, because like you're attacking the person who's protecting you, idiot. It's like fucking so stupid.
Alex Karp is one of us. Okay. That's his point. He's like, I had to build Palantir to keep you away from Claude. Right? He's building the hardware that AI plugs into that's going to prevent the domestic mass surveillance. Does that make sense? He's building this wall. Anyways, it's really interesting when you go into it. He's like, you guys don't get it. He's like, it's me or them. Who do you want? I'm one of you. He's like, I don't trust the government. I hate the government. I want to be a liberal, right? And the only way I can be a liberal and survive the pendulum swinging back and forth is to build the infrastructure that will protect freedom of speech and all those kind of things. So I'm kind of, I don't like the control grid, but it's inevitable. Yeah. Right. So how do we fix it? How do we really have a hand in fixing things?
I don't have any really good ideas.
You got two choices, right? Ballots or bullets. We've talked about this. The buses are going to be free. How we get there, either we get it through bullets or we get it through ballots. Jesse Kelly, Megyn Kelly's brother, a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that until I was in prison and my friend told me, and I was like, are you kidding me? Because he liked Jesse Kelly, and I usually don't like to listen to Jesse Kelly. But Jesse Kelly said it best. If Republicans, conservatives, don't get off their butt and stop electing these rhinos that are basically letting the Democrats walk all over them, we're in trouble.
Thune says we don't have the votes. I've already laid it out for you. I laid it out last week. We don't have the votes. Mitch McConnell is retiring and hates Donald Trump with the fire of 1,000 suns. He cannot be bribed. He cannot be threatened. He's half dead already, and he's retiring. He just wants to screw Trump one more time on the way out the door. Tom Tillis, exact same situation. Lisa Murkowski in Alaska, she owes her entire career to Mitch McConnell, who backed up a Brinks truck to keep her in the United States Senate. We don't have the votes. We don't. They're not there. They don't exist. You can't bribe your way to them. You can't blackmail your way to them. The votes do not exist. And the votes do not exist because red state primary voters, when it comes time to choose the next nominee, I'm going to go vote for Barrasso. I'm going to go vote for John Curtis. I'm going to vote for John Cornyn. Oh, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham. I met him once at my church. He was so sweet. Oh, Mike Rounds. What a great guy. We had pancakes together. The red state GOP primary voter doesn't even bother to vote in primaries 90% of the time. I take that back. The number is actually 75% in the interest of accuracy. 25% participation in our primaries. Most of the time doesn't even bother to get off the couch and go vote in the primary. And the other half of the time, do you want me to read you the numbers again? Jewish producer Chris pulls them up all the time. You don't actually have to do it, Chris, but you're welcome to if you want. You want me to read you the primary numbers? It's not like these swamp rat scumbags who hold this stuff up are barely squeaking by in the primary. Complete and total domination of every single challenger they run up against. It's not like the GOP primary voter in these red states is really, it's neck and neck. He can't decide. They show up on election day in droves and vote for the same freaking dork time and time and time and time again. Because they saw him on TV, they met him at church, they had pancakes with him. Oh, James Langford seems so nice. I met his wife. I'll vote again for Amnesty Langford. Time and time and time and time again.
And
he's not wrong.
The problem.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, which is why I advocate for getting involved on the political side of things, right? Sure, go to your city council meeting, yell at them, go to your school boards, read the books back at them, okay? By that point, it's almost too late. You're on the eve of a vote. The policy's set in place. The bill's been written, and then we show up. When you should show up is during the selection process, when the parties are endorsing their candidates and putting the political machinery behind them. Go get involved.
When the councilmen are being selected.
Yes, go get involved. I don't care. Go to the Democrat Party. Take it over. Why not? They do it to us.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, go get involved in the selection process. In fact, you might be better served showing up at a Democrat meeting and then just never stop going.
Just don't tell them you're Republican.
Don't tell them you're Republican. Just tell them you're a libertarian. You know what I mean? Just tell them you're a blue dog Democrat and you want to go in and support the union for
I just have lots of
jobs.
Really personally held beliefs that I can't tell you about.
Yeah, but I'll see.
So an American citizen representing.
Now, James,
what do you have to say to?
Was approached by the Lindell TV reporter. She has gotten some of the best takes from these people because she'll ask the questions we want to ask that nobody asked these people at the pancake breakfast at your local church because we want to be decent. We don't want to be confrontational. We don't want to say you're woke or you're a rhino. We just want to shake your hand and get a picture. Right. So she asked him about some of his votes, his policies, the things he has actually said.
What do you have to say to the Americans who are questioning why President Trump should endorse you when many say that you've been vehemently against his agenda?
Do you speak for all these Americans? I don't understand.
Yeah, actually, I do.
Yeah.
Many people are asking this question. Do you have a response? I mean, you've been borderline pro-amnesty, red flag laws.
Are you being paid? Are you being paid by the Paxton campaign?
No, I'm just a concerned American citizen representing millions of other Americans.
No, I think you're a paid influencer because none of that's true, and you know it.
Okay.
Okay. Should we play the highlight reel? We won't because I don't want to bore you. I think you probably know John Cornyn's a hole. Okay? He's not a good dude. Amnesty, red flag laws, Trump didn't win the election. On and on it goes. But he's so nice and he's got such a congenial attitude and he smiles. I think you're a paid influencer. No, John. No, we're not. No, we're not. And you're starting to tick us off. Here's Tim Burchett again.
So let's talk about the SAVE Act. So you talk about like people betraying Trump and betraying the Republican base.
Betraying our country. They're betraying our country, Benny. It's ridiculous. The Senate needs to go. Yeah. Oh, we don't want to work 2 hours a day. They don't want to do the standing filibuster or whatever filibuster. Mike Lee, God bless him. He's my second favorite Mormon in Congress, right? And I've told him that. And he's moving up to my first one when Andy Biggs leaves and goes back to Arizona to become the governor. But dadgum, I love him. He is a freaking street fighter that never curses. And so, I mean, he's a straight arrow, and him and the rest of those guys and gals. And here's what bothers me about it, Benny. The whole thing that bothers me about it. You got all these people that are waiting. They're holding out to get something. And I get it. That's how you get all these bridges to nowhere. And then what'll happen? We'll embrace all those people after this is over with that roll at the end and decide to do it. And we'll give them a pass until the next time. And that's why it takes so long to get something done. And honestly, that's why nothing gets done.
Can you talk me through like what?
So that's it's pretty obvious, right? Well, eventually they'll cave and they'll vote and then we'll give them a pass and we'll overwhelmingly reelect them, right? But meanwhile, nothing real substantial gets done. This is John Cornyn in a Senate hearing yesterday, and they're talking about the SAVE Act. And you've got Dick Durbin and John Cornyn kind of going at it. And John Cornyn asked the question, So what's the problem with showing ID? Look at how uninformed he is about this topic. And then there's another key thing here. It's about amendments.
So I don't understand how it could disenfranchise millions of Americans, and maybe he would explain.
I'm happy to. Thank you for that question, because I think all of us should be aware of the fact of what is required by this act when it comes to registering to vote. You have to present identification, correct? But your driver's license, which most people use in the course of business every single day, is not acceptable. What is acceptable is
your driver's license is not acceptable. Why is that? Because you don't have to prove you're anything to get a driver's license. It says resident on there. So they give them to anybody. Right now, there's been a change in the driver's license apparatus. It's called Real ID. And I don't support Real ID. I don't like Real ID. I'm going to hold out as long as possible. But I went and got a passport so I can get on a plane and I can do all that stuff. Right. But Real ID is not hard. I mean, they give them away like candy. It's just a couple more verification steps, and then they run it through a database and make sure you don't have a driver's license somewhere else, that you're a real person. It's not a big deal. In fact, in Washington, they're by default giving this out to people, right? You have to actually request not to get the Real ID. And in most Democrat states, believe it or not, and Republican states, that is the case. In fact, it's kind of a scandal that they were doing that, because they're not supposed to by default give it. You're supposed to opt in, and they were making you opt out. Okay. So Cornyn is uninformed on that.
Passport. 50% of Americans do not have a passport. Those who want to obtain it so they can vote will pay $186 and wait 3 or 4 weeks for that to happen. Secondly, you can use a birth certificate. But any person who has changed their name as a result of a marriage or a hyphenated relationship has to find not only their birth certificate, but some correction of it to prove that they're eligible to register to vote. It's estimated that 9% of the vote,
and also to buy beer, and also to get on a plane, and also, you know what I mean?
Voters in America do not have the identification required by this bill. It means ultimately that those people will not be voting. And I think that is the ultimate goal of this administration.
One last question. Those are all matters that could be addressed by amendments to the bill itself if we get on the bill, correct?
When's the last time we amended
For which I would think there would be
Chair. When Burkhardt says the Senate's lazy, they only want to work 2 hours a day. Nobody can remember the last time the Senate amended a bill.
I'm sorry. That is so funny. That's such a funny admission. Well, like, when was the last time we ever did anything?
It's a straight up or down vote, right? It's so difficult. Okay. If you don't vote in the primaries, you get stuck with one of these holes. Okay. You get stuck with them. You can't do anything. Fred the Rosary Daily says Cornyn is a little bit hysterical, though he's a little bit hysterical, though correct. What do you mean a little? Oh, Jesse Kelly. Yeah. He's a little hysterical, but he's dead right. It's retarded. Like we're retarded, you know, and I got to put myself in this camp sometimes. I've been retarded. I thought, oh, somebody else will vote. You know what I mean? Golly. Obviously, going to prison changed my attitude. That's why I show up at the Republican Party.
I think that some of it is due to the fact that the rules change so much, and a lot of people just get disillusioned with the primary process. And it's like, well, who's going through the primary? Oh, it's the top two, or the top two vote getters, or the top two from each party, or who even cares? Let's just go vote in the final.
Yep. Okay, guys, let's do this. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with. I'm going to change this one here. Give me just a second. We've had a good show flow today. I'm proud of it. It's better to do it with you, Ron. So,
well, let me see if I can find another free ad to read here.
Let's do it.
Boom. 1775 coffee is blowing up. Let's blow it up on you. All right. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? I can't believe it if you haven't, but now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. Now are you trying to get an old... Jeez. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, and a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. And a black 1775 tumbler, $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does.
Woohoo! We also have our Rumble wallet set up so you can do tips. I don't know exactly how to use it yet, but
I don't either. But
we'll figure it out at some point. So get your crypto wallet so you can tip us. We need the support. I got an email from one of those podcast companies that helps promote shows, and there's like a network, and you can cross market. And so he previewed our show, and he wrote, dude, you've posted more podcasts than most podcasters ever do. And he's like, your audience is really small for how many podcasts you have. I'm like, I know. So then
we know.
So he saw the volume of shows. So then he listened, and then he sent me another email back. He's like, wow, your show's really good. And he was very complimentary. And, I'm like, he's like, why isn't your show bigger? And he gave me like a checklist of stuff. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that, So if anybody wants to volunteer to help out the show in any way, and you've got a skill set for social media or marketing or clipping or anything, volunteer. This is an organic activity. Like, we don't really cover our costs reading these ads. It's almost
definitely not.
It's almost just an exercise.
My wife is actually pretty upset about that I'm still doing this.
The liability is much greater than but this honestly, in my perspective, this is for our kids.
Absolutely.
This is doing our little part, and you can't go on a 1,000-mile journey without taking those first steps when you don't see the end in sight. And I'm committed to just take the steps necessary. As long as I feel inspired to do the show, I'll do the show.
Absolutely.
Until we feel like the job's done, we're just going to keep doing it, because it's not about the show, but we do want it to grow. Why? Because we want to spread the message, share the word. We're all peasants. We have to live here, no matter who's in charge, who's speaking for us, who's speaking to us. We get talked down to a lot, but we don't talk to each other a lot. And that's what this show's supposed to do. I want to get in the airplane with the Zoomer Waffens and hear what they have to say, right? I want to see their perspective so I can incorporate it. Figure out how we can come to a compromise, a way that we can all live together.
Well, and hopefully help them see some of our positions too. Maybe
yes.
sway some hearts.
Exactly. So Jimmy Carter chaired a committee that looked at mail-in voting and said it was rife with fraud, right? Well, John Fetterman, who up till now has been acting like he was going to support the SAVE Act, he's not anymore.
Do you have time for a quick question on the Save America Act?
No, I mean, I've been very front and center on it. I'm not sure what the agenda is. Now, if they have a serious conversation, that's just provide basic ID to vote. Like I would, somebody that could support that.
Okay, and what is it about the current legislation that you have a problem with? Because you did support it before.
Because it has no chance of passing. So, like, put up something that has a chance to maybe even pass, unless you just want empty kind of show votes. If they want that, that's their prerogative. I'll be a reasonable Democrat to say showing ID to vote. That's 83% of Americans agree with that. 71% of Democrats do. Make sure that you want to know who people are voting. Regular ID, that's something I might get behind. Not all the other things. So if you want a show vote, you'll get it, and then it has no chance of passing.
Do you think that if we implemented the talking filibuster, that it would have a better chance of passing?
No, I've been very clear about that. If they want to be serious about it, do it. Otherwise, you'll get your show vote that has no chance of passing. You want to make it you want to make it more secure, and do it the right way that have a chance of passing. Otherwise, it's just bad performance art.
He did another interview where he went on to say that his beef is with the mail-in voting. Mail-in voting is great. Mail-in voting is awesome. And I don't support anything that limits mail-in voting. That's one of the fraud measures, right? So I'm going to leave you guys with this today before we jump into the private. We've got a pretty decent private show. We're going to be talking about the election. We're going to be talking about ballots and some of the revelations that have come out. And I know, maybe Iran is nauseating for you at a certain point. Maybe ballots are nauseating for you at a certain point. We want to cover it all. We're going to do that in private today to kind of go over it. But Donald Trump, there was a prophecy by some priest in 1983 that told a reporter. I shared this story before, and we can go find the clips if we ever wanted to. But he shared with a reporter that the Lord, God, is preparing a man in America to turn the country back to God. And when the reporter said, "Who is it?" he said, "A man named Donald Trump." And the reporter, this is 1983. The reporter's like, talking about the Manhattan Playboy, you know, the larger than life guy.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. And he didn't, the priest didn't know anything about Donald Trump, but he knew his name. He said, God's preparing him to, quote unquote, turn your country back to God. This is a verified story. It was published in the paper. Another journalist went and interviewed the journalist who had this experience, right? And that's what he said. Donald Trump gave a speech at the National Prayer Breakfast, and we kind of missed this when it happened. But this is a monumental moment in our country's history.
To support this exciting renewal this morning, I'm pleased to announce that on May 17th, 2026, that we're inviting Americans from all across the country to come together on our national mall to pray, to give thanks, and we are going to do something that everyone said, like, that's tough. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God. You know, a lot of people.
Wow.
Hear it on our audience.
You know, I didn't want to go to the Capitol on J6, but I could get behind this.
Yeah, that's pretty
Thank you very
incredible.
much. That's what I mean by the Spirit is so incredible to see it. I see it so much. Never seen anything like it in 1 year. I thought it would take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to be where we are. We've done it in, really 10 months. We're at 12, but now it's just getting to a level that we've never reached before as a country. But that includes religion. And maybe that's part of the reason that we're doing so well. There's such great spirit. It's all spirit, and it includes religion. I've always said, you just can't have a great country if you don't have religion. You have to believe in something. You have to believe that what we're doing, there's a reason for it. There has to be a reason for it. We're all working and we're behaving. I behave because I'm afraid not to, okay? I don't want to get in trouble.
It almost brings a tear to my eye.
Wow.
Right.
That's way interesting. And also super interesting about that. Did you notice who was off to his left clapping?
Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was international leaders that were behind him there.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Again, this is a monumental moment in time. Like you said, in the future, kids are going to go, why does dad have a whole bunch of 2026 dimes? Well, that was the year we waged war on our enemies. And that's the year we rededicated ourselves to God. And hopefully we can have an era of peace, a golden era after this, because the business of America is not business the way it's been sold to us. The business of America.
You know what'd be really cool is if after the 2026 dime comes out, they redo the design and it is only peace.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah. No arrows.
We're in a renewal. We are in a renewal. Everything is changing. The financial system, which, if you're the John Birch Society or you're the Promethean group, they'll talk about the financial system. The British banking system is one of the culprits of taking us away from God because it puts us into sin. Sin is debt. Sin is obligation. Sin is an imbalance. Okay. And when a nation is in sin, they call it original sin. The Catholics did this. You were born into original sin and you spent the rest of your life trying to pay it off. Right. In America, what are you born into? You're born into debt. Every child is born has $80,000, $150,000 of national debt. They've got to work to pay.
Well, and it never gets paid off.
It never
you
gets
die
paid
in
off.
debt.
You die in debt, right? Exactly. This is changing it back to where you have your equity. You have your purpose, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's why we do it. And we do that. We secure those rights through our religious beliefs, the things that we're willing to die for, the things that we're willing to suffer and endure in order to create and have a better world. This is something that Doug Wyatt and I talked a lot about in prison, right? About the why. Both deeply faithful people, right? And it's like we were willing to go through what we went through and endure it well because there was meaning to it, because it matters what we leave our kids. It matters. I'm not dogmatic at all, but it doesn't mean that I don't think that we should all have faith. And we should all have a higher power, someone who will judge us in our private moments, right? Another big thing too, I should have left it on that, but I want to make sure I get this into the public. The financial system is now officially changing. This is Jamie Dimon, biggest banker, probably one of the most influential bankers. And he was on the news yesterday.
Blockchain is real. It's been around for quite a while, but now it's becoming more effective, more efficient because people are finding ways to do it faster and cheaper, permissioned or not permissioned. Smart contracts, I think, will probably be real. Blockchain is real. It's been around for quite a while.
So that is a big shift, right? It's a shift away from the bankers to something real. Bitcoin is real. It's digital gold, so to speak. Okay. So lots of changes ahead, and very excited for May when we rededicate our nation as one nation under God. All right, guys, we're going to see you over in the private. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll talk to you again on, hold on. Talk to you again on Monday, but we are now hosting the Liberty Lounge on Sundays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, so join us for Liberty Lounge on Sunday. It's an open forum where we can kind of talk about anything. And in the chats in the Liberty Lounge, we actually post a link where you can join us on screen if you'd like. So just kind of like a Zoom meeting, you can click the link and you can come on camera. So if you've got questions,
so Sunday, 5 p.m.
5:30, 5 p.m. Yep.
Pacific Standard
Time. Yep. Oh, Pony Boy.
What the heck?
My goodness.
What the heck is going on?
Pony Boy. Holy cow. Pony Boy just made a tip or something like that. Wow. That's awesome, Pony Boy. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Wow, that's amazing. $20. Ron, we paid for the show today.
I think that's the first money we've really made.
We should split it. We can go to Starbucks and get a latte at $8 a pop each. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Pony Boy. All right, you guys. Thank you. Those of you sticking around in private, we'll see you in 2 seconds. The rest